Good evening, folks. So, it has been another eventful day in the WNBA, but for a very different reason than yesterday. We had a number of exit interviews postseason, and one of those exit interviews was a nearly 20-minute interview with Caitlin Clark. And if you haven't yet seen it, you have to. You have to see it in its entirety, not with it being broken up by YouTube channel content creators and then taking little snippets of it and playing it for you, which I'm not going to do. Okay. The entirety of this video will be in the description of the video I am currently making. And it will also be under posts on the channel. The video has to be seen in its context, total context, not with little bits and pieces taken out so that people can fit a narrative. I'm going to tell you tonight my takeaway from me watching this exit interview twice in its entirety. Okay? And giving you my take on it, and then I want you to watch it in its entirety. So we're going to start there. First and foremost, let me just say that Caitlin Clark is one of the most intelligent, forthcoming, honest, and selfless athletes I have ever encountered. And I've been watching sports all my life. It started when I was a very young kid with my family, okay? It's, like I said, I remember the 1967 Impossible Dream Red Sox team, okay? I've been a Red Sox fan. I've been a Celtics fan. I've never really been a Patriots fan because I really don't like football all that much. But needless to say, basketball and baseball have been my primary focus. I was a huge Bruins fan in the 70s. I could probably be persuaded to be a Bruins fan again. I just haven't taken the time. So she is without a doubt someone who is intelligent beyond her years, because people will try to bait her. And they have been trying to bait her over this Kathy Engelbert thing, and she just is not having any of it. But at the same time, Caitlin Clark stood behind Nafisa Collier during this interview. And the two things I will reveal was she was asked by one reporter if Nafisa Collier discussed with her the content of her conversation with Kathy Engelbert before she made her public statement. And Caitlin Clark just flat said no and did not elaborate. And then she was asked by another reporter if Kathy Engelbert has contacted her, and she said no and did not elaborate. She will not be baited. Now, I believe that Caitlin Clark truly believes in the rest of the players in the league and knows exactly where the CBA has to go. And she said it. She so much as said it in this interview. And that's why I want you to watch it and take her words. Okay? The other thing that she said is that to have effective leadership, you have to be able to build relationships. And in her own way, she alluded to the fact that that is not what's been happening in the WNBA. And she knows it. She knows it. So let me tell you other things that came out of this interview. Number one, for those people who keep saying that Caitlin Clark is leaving the WNBA, or that Caitlin Clark should walk away from the WNBA, or that Caitlin Clark should go play in Europe, let me explain something to you. Caitlin Clark reiterated in this interview her commitment to building a better WNBA for all the players. That is her goal. She said in this interview that she has been that girl since she was 5 years old. This is where she wants to play. There is no other professional women's basketball league. Unrivaled is a 3-on-3 off-season league. It is not real basketball. Okay? That's number one. She's not leaving. She's not going to Europe. So the people who continue to come on our comment thread and say that, don't waste your time. Because Caitlin Clark's not going to give you what you want. And by the way, anyone who claims to be a Caitlin Clark fan while they're saying that she should walk away from the WNBA is not really a Caitlin Clark fan. Because if you were a Caitlin Clark fan, you would understand what Caitlin Clark wants. And it is not to leave the WNBA. European competition is not the same as WNBA competition, no matter what anyone's telling you. Okay? It isn't. It is not a substitute or a career change. Okay? Number two, Caitlin Clark has said off-season, and Stephanie White has said off-season, that Caitlin Clark needs to play 5-on-5 basketball. Now, what does that mean? Does that mean she's going to go for Athletes Unlimited? She did not even mention Athletes Unlimited in this conversation. What she did mention was Team USA basketball. Now, what does that indicate? We don't know yet. She has said that. But to me, it sounds like, or the possibility, one of the possibilities could be her getting involved at some level playing 5-on-5 tryouts for the 2028 Olympics. Because Caitlin Clark will be on that Olympic team come hell or high water. All right? But again, both Stephanie White and Caitlin Clark have indicated that she will be playing some 5-on-5 basketball prior to the opening season. She does not know yet what that looks like. That is yet TBD, to be determined. She said she will take some time off. Then she said like about a week, because she doesn't want to lose all of the momentum she has going in her recovery. And I think that even taking a week off for Caitlin Clark will be a lot to ask of her, honestly. So those are the things that we know. To me, it does not sound like Caitlin Clark is going to play for Unrivaled. I'm not saying that's not a possibility, but I don't think that that's part of the plan right now. I don't think that she has decided what the best move forward is. Her emphasis was on getting her body strengthened, getting her body strength back. I think that comes even before you play 5-on-5. So she does not have to start playing 5-on-5 next week. She doesn't have to start playing 5-on-5 next month. Caitlin Clark will figure out what she needs. And I am sure, I am absolutely sure, that the Indiana Fever organization and Stephanie White will be involved in determining what her 5-on-5 situation looks like. There are options for her. And I do recall that Amber Cox said, whatever it takes to get Caitlin Clark back to 100%, the Indiana Fever organization will be happy to work with her on that. And I have no doubt that although Kathleen Engelbert has no clue how to build a relationship, I have no doubt that the Indiana Fever organization knows who Caitlin Clark is and how important she is to them. So we know that. And Caitlin Clark, again, in this interview, reiterated that there's no place else she wants to play. She considers Indianapolis her home. She cited how together and how supportive the sports teams are in that city of each other. Okay? The Indiana Fever attend Pacers games. The Pacers attend the Indiana Fever games. She even cited the Indianapolis Colts. She says it's a sports community, and that is where she wants to be. So the notion that she's going to walk away from the Indiana Fever is another thing that y'all can give up, okay? Caitlin Clark knows exactly how to direct her career. She has been doing it since Iowa, since her freshman year. So I think she knows a little bit better than we, the general public, the best way for her to direct her career. Let's just let her do that, okay? Our job is to watch the games, not to tell Caitlin Clark how to run her life. She knows where she wants to be. Somewhere down the road, may she go to another team? Anything can happen. But Caitlin Clark is not going to try to get out of her contract. She is not going to demand a trade. And she is not going to turn down a fourth-year option. If Caitlin Clark can be a lifer in Indianapolis, she will be a lifer in Indianapolis. Now, there are people out there who are saying that because Caitlin Clark's name was mentioned by Kathy Engelbert, that Caitlin Clark must speak out. No, she does not have to speak out any more than she already spoke out during her exit interview. That is not her role. Okay? During that conversation that Nafisa Collier had with Kathy Engelbert, Nafisa Collier mentioned Caitlin Clark, Angel Reese, and Paige Beckers. Let's make one thing clear. Only one of those players is a Tiger Woods level generational athlete. That's Caitlin Clark. Angel Reese is not a generational athlete. And in spite of Gino Auriemma, I'm sorry to tell him, neither is Paige Beckers. Nobody mentioned that they should speak out. Only that Caitlin Clark should speak out. Caitlin Clark does not have to speak out. She is not a player representative. She is a WNBA player. Nafisa Collier is part of the WNBA Players Association. That's why she is speaking out. And I commend Nafisa Collier for everything that she said, that she had courage to stand up like that to Kathy Engelbert. And Caitlin Clark reiterated what Nafisa Collier said in far fewer words, but very effective words. And that's all that Caitlin Clark needs to do. Lexi Hull spoke out. Lexi Hull is a player representative for the Fever. This is not Caitlin Clark's job. Okay? Caitlin Clark did her job during the exit interview. She does not need to speak out on this subject any more than she has. She has done her part. Now what she needs to do is focus on the off season and get herself well. She needs to follow the CBA just like everybody else does. A lot of this was, the firing across the bow. Some of this is to be expected, but I honestly, truly believe that Kathy Engelbert needs to go. Now, she came from Deloitte, which is basically an accounting firm. Again, she has absolutely no people skills whatsoever. She has no appreciation for the women who have played in this league. And every time I see somebody like one of the commenters on our thread that called Kelsey Mitchell a loser, an 8-year loser. Kelsey Mitchell toiled for the Indiana Fever loyally through some of the worst teams that only had 5 wins. To call Kelsey Mitchell a loser when she put everything on the line for her team this year, to me, is unconscionable. Unconscionable. And the Indiana Fever have already said that their priority is going to be to resign her for next year. Kelsey Mitchell in the backcourt with Caitlin Clark was powerful. Was a powerful combination in Caitlin Clark's rookie season, and it will be again in 2026. Aaliyah Boston, another important cog in the wheel. We will watch the deadliest pick and roll in the WNBA together again in 2026. Aaliyah Boston put it all on the line for the Fever this year, playing out of position in a number of games. Where will Lexi Hull fit in? She's a restricted free agent. We don't know. But she needs, they also asked Caitlin Clark about Lexi Hull. And she said that every team in the WNBA should want a player like Lexi Hull. Someone who is selfless, who rises to the occasion no matter what they ask of her. We need players like that. And Caitlin Clark said, she's one of my best friends. You're not going to find me saying a lot of bad stuff about her. So let me say this. Where Sophie Cunningham is, I don't know. Will she be back? I hope so. Will Lexi Hull be back? I sure hope so. Will Kelsey Mitchell be back? I know she'll be back. Okay? The only way Kelsey Mitchell will not be back is if she gets a better deal somewhere else. I don't think the Fever are going to allow that to happen. Aaliyah Boston's option has already been exercised for next year. She is back. Where we go from there, I don't know. But we build around that core. Somebody suggested that maybe Sydney Colson comes back as a coach. I don't know. You know, Sydney Colson has a serious injury. Whether she comes back as a player next year is even in question. Nobody knows the answer to that yet. As for everybody else, we'll see how it all shakes out. Because all of the people that came to the team this year were either one-year contracts or hardship signings. And we don't know where they're going to go. Michaela Timpson, we know. She's on a standard rookie contract. She's back in the fold. And she's going to be an important part of the Fever. But beyond that, my hope is that you will watch the Caitlin Clark exit interview in its entirety, so you know exactly where she is and exactly what she's thinking from her mouth, as opposed to the words you may be hearing elsewhere from people who insist that they know what's best for her. Because, of course, she can't make up any of these things on her own. Caitlin Clark knows exactly what she wants. She will have a long career in the WNBA. And she will be a dominant player in the WNBA for many years to come. We know that the WNBA, under Kathy Engelbert, blew this golden opportunity when Caitlin Clark came out of college. If you read Christine Brennan's book, you know it. They blew it badly. But it doesn't have to stay that way. Okay? What Tiger Woods did for golf, Caitlin Clark can do for the WNBA. What we need is a leadership team at the top of the WNBA that understands that. Okay, that's it for today. I will be back again. I believe the series starts tomorrow night. And yes, I may not sit down and watch every game, but I will be following this. And wait a minute, before I go, let me just say one other thing. Because Kathy Engelbert probably doesn't think we all know this, but she mentions the contract that was negotiated for the TV rights. Okay. The contract that she negotiated for TV rights for this past season and for the rest of the seasons that the deal works through is contingent upon a healthy dosage of Caitlin Clark being on the screen. That is why I paid for Fubo this year. There's only 4 Indiana Fever games I could not get that I could get elsewhere on a per game basis, and I did. So Kathy Engelbert didn't do a damn thing for Caitlin Clark. Caitlin Clark did a whole lot for the WNBA in spite of Kathy Engelbert's incredible short-sightedness. So let's get somebody in there who finally gets the picture. And it isn't Dave Portnoy either. Let's give that one up. I'll talk to you guys tomorrow night.